In the bustling heart of Accra, where the vibrant Oxford Street pulsed with life and secrets, Abena's world was about to shatter in ways she could have never imagined. It was a humid Tuesday evening when Abena was preparing dinner in her modest apartment in East Legon. The aroma of jollof rice and fried plantains filled the air, a familiar comfort in her otherwise ordinary life. Suddenly, the doorbell rang. Expecting her husband, Kwame, an upstanding architect known for his calm demeanor, she was surprised to see Kofi, Kwame's childhood friend and business partner, standing at the door with a neatly wrapped parcel. His presence was unexpected. Kwame had not mentioned any plans for company that evening. Kofi's eyes darted nervously as he greeted her, and though Abena sensed an unusual tension, she couldn't fathom what lay beneath. He explained that he had come to drop off some documents regarding Kwame's new project, but as he stepped inside, an inexplicable magnetism pulled them together. In the softly lit living room, as Accra's distant city lights flickered through the window, the conversation drifted from casual updates to the latest Ghanaian romantic film playing on the television, a film that once sparked fond memories for Kofi. As the film unfolded, a particularly moving scene ignited something deep within both of them. In a moment heavy with unspoken longing, the boundaries between friendship and forbidden desire blurred. Amid whispered compliments and hesitant glances, Abena found herself drawn into an intimate conversation that escalated far beyond innocent flirtation. One thing led to another, and before the night had fully surrendered to dawn, Abena and Kofi crossed a line that would haunt her every waking moment. The thrill of the forbidden, mixed with the intoxicating pulse of the city outside, left her heart pounding with both exhilaration and dread. When Kofi left that night, Abena was left alone with a heavy silence, a silence filled with guilt, regret, and a sense of impending doom. In the days that followed, the vibrant streets of Accra became a constant reminder of the secret that lay buried in her soul. Abena's nights were tormented by memories of that fateful encounter, replaying every heated moment in vivid detail. Meanwhile, Kwame remained blissfully unaware of the betrayal simmering beneath his roof. Abena's inner turmoil grew as the guilt of her actions clashed with her love for Kwame, leaving her in a relentless state of anxiety and despair. At the weekly market in Makola, amidst the clamor of vendors and the rich aroma of roasted corn, Abena's mind would wander back to that night. She felt as if every shadow and every whisper in the crowd was a silent witness to her indiscretion. The once harmonious home she shared with Kwame now echoed with the uncertainty of a ticking time bomb. Months later, the truth began to unravel like the frayed threads of a well-worn garment. A confidential conversation with a mutual friend revealed an unimaginable twist. The entire episode with Kofi was not a chance lapse in judgment, but a meticulously orchestrated test. Kwame, troubled by whispers of infidelity from past relationships and seeking to affirm Abena's fidelity, had secretly set the stage. The unexpected visit from Kofi, the familiar film, each element had been carefully planned by Kwame to gauge Abena's loyalty. When Abena discovered the truth, the shock was as brutal as the relentless Ghanaian sun at noon. The betrayal she had committed was, in a cruel twist of fate, part of a sinister experiment designed by the men she loved. The realization that her moment of weakness had been exploited tore at her already fragile soul, and the weight of her actions became unbearable. Unable to reconcile the duplicity and the emotional wreckage that ensued, Abena made the heart-wrenching decision to confront the betrayal head-on. In a tearful and turbulent confrontation, Kwame admitted to his calculated test, his tone cold and devoid of remorse. The revelation fractured their marriage irrevocably. The ensuing divorce was as bitter as the strongest Ghanaian cocoa, and the court became the stage for Abena's final stand. With a heavy heart but resolute determination, she filed a lawsuit against Kwame, accusing him of emotional abuse, manipulation, and deliberate betrayal of the marital trust. In the packed courtroom in Accra's High Court, as spectators and media alike hung on every word, Abena recounted the harrowing series of events, from the unsuspecting evening in East Legon to the gut-wrenching discovery of Kwame's cruel test. Her voice trembled yet remained unwavering as she declared, "I may have faltered, but I was a victim of your calculated deception. I trusted you with my heart, and you chose to gamble with it as if it were nothing more than a test." The courtroom buzzed with shock and sympathy, the tension palpable as everyone awaited the final judgment. After weeks of deliberation and careful examination of the evidence, Judge Mensah, a venerable figure known for his fairness and stern demeanor, delivered his judgment. Sitting high on the bench, with the gavel in hand and a grave expression etched upon his face, he addressed the court in a measured yet resolute tone. In this case, Judge Mensah began, the facts present a scenario that transcends a simple marital misunderstanding. The court finds that Mr. Kwame deliberately orchestrated a situation designed to test Mrs. Abena's fidelity, a test that, by its very nature, constituted emotional manipulation and abuse. Trust, once violated, has consequences that reach far beyond personal regret. He continued, while the court acknowledges that Mrs. Abena's actions contributed to the events of that fateful evening, it is equally clear that the breach of trust was not one-sided. Mr. Kwame's calculated scheme has inflicted severe emotional distress and has irrevocably damaged the sanctity of this marriage. With the courtroom silent and every eye fixed upon him, Judge Mensah pronounced the final judgment. Divorce granted, the marriage between Abena and Kwame is hereby dissolved. Both parties are granted an immediate divorce, and all shared properties shall be divided equally in accordance with the matrimonial property law of Ghana. Compensation for emotional distress, recognizing the severe emotional manipulation and the distress caused by this orchestrated test, the court awards Mrs. Abena a sum of 150,000 Ghanaian cedis as compensation for the psychological trauma and the irreversible impact on her personal dignity. Mandated counseling and remedial measures. Mr. Kwame is ordered to undergo a court-mandated psychological evaluation and counseling for a period of no less than 6 months. Additionally, he must attend a series of remedial sessions on marital ethics and emotional responsibility, aimed at preventing such abuse of trust in any future relationships. Judge Mensah's closing words resonated deeply within the hushed courtroom. Let this judgment serve as a reminder that manipulation within the sanctity of marriage is not only morally reprehensible but also subject to the full weight of the law. Trust is the foundation of every relationship, and when it is breached in such a calculated manner, the consequences must be severe. As the gavel fell, sealing the judgment, Abena felt a bittersweet sense of vindication mingled with the lingering pain of betrayal. The streets of Accra, vibrant and relentless, seemed to echo the promise of a new beginning for her, a future where she might rebuild her self-respect and rediscover the strength to move forward from a love that had once been her whole world. In the end, what began as a single, fateful evening in a vibrant Ghanaian city had unraveled into a dramatic saga of love, betrayal, and bitter justice, a story that would forever haunt the corridors of memory in the heart of Accra, but also mark the beginning of Abena's long-awaited liberation.